This is 7 basic metrics that you need to be able to find in Google Analytics 4. There's chapters in this video, so you can skip ahead to the one that you need, or you can look at all of them and might learn something that you didn't know you need to know. First up is, of course, page views. And for this, we're going to look at one of my Danish authority sites. When you first open up Google Analytics 4, this is the start screen that you're met with. If you don't see views up here, you can actually go here and change that. Views is here in the suggested. If you don't have that, it's under page and screen, and you have views there. So I've set this to 30 days because that's what I'm used to. Sometimes you will start by 28 days or 7 days, depending of what Google have chosen for you or you have looked at last. So if you want to go to set it to 30 days, you go to more preset ranges and then 30 days. So this is a rounded number. So if you want the accurate one, you go to reports, engagement, pages and screens. And then again, you would have to make sure that this is set to 30 days. This is sometimes just changing when you change screens. So go to the data range that you want, click apply, and then you will have views here. And this is the exact number. And one bonus tip, we used to be able to have this pretty graph where we can have page views each month. This is where Universal Google Analytics stopped reporting, so that's why the dip is there. If you want to get this graph, we're not able to get that in Google Analytics 4, but I've made a guide on how to do that in what's called Google Looker Studio, and you can watch that video here if you want. There's also a link in the description where you can go and watch it afterwards. Next up, we're going to look at our top pages. And this is actually already where we are at, pages and screen. And I usually look at the top pages by page views. So these are already here under pages and screens. I used to look at time on page as well as a measurement of how engaged users were. And this is also possible here in this view. If you go to the side, we have average engagement time. So this is not time on page, but it's the time that a user was engaged with your content on that specific URL. And I just sort them here, and I can go back and forth and see the views and see the engagement time here. There's some podcast on here, that's why the numbers are so high. Also, a bonus tip here, if you don't like to look at the URLs, you can change this here to page title and screen class, and you will get the page title. These are all in Danish, but that's how that works. I prefer to have it on the URLs because that's what I'm used to. One more bonus tip you can get is that I actually loved to look at the content drill down and all pages reports in the Universal Google Analytics. And it's because on this site I have podcast, I have a blog, I have online courses and a lot of other stuff. And it's all mixed in together, but they are in different categories, and that is shown in the URL. And we are not able to get that directly in Google Analytics 4, but you can sort of get something similar. Let's say I only want to look at URLs with my podcast. So just write podcast here and search. And now I have what is basically the same thing as going into the content drill down here. Number 3 is traffic sources. You of course want to know where your traffic is coming from. So we go to acquisition, and there's 2 here, users and traffic. I find that traffic is usually that gives me the one that gives me the numbers I want. They're very similar, and please don't ask me what the difference is. I take traffic acquisition. Here we have the organic and direct and organic social. And if we go down, we have them with numbers here. And this is with users and not page views. And I guess that sort of makes sense, as it is a user that goes into your site and not a page view that goes into your site. But you have to get your head around that it's a different number than we're used to. I sometimes also run campaigns, and to track those I use what is called UTM parameters. If you don't know what those are, you can skip this part. But if you click here and go into sources and medium, we will have them here in just a second. There they are. So I'm currently not running any, so just for the fun of it, let's have a look. So there's one here and one here. So if you're using UTM parameters, this is where you would find that data. We of course also want to know where users are coming from in the world. So we go down here to users and demographic details. And then we have the countries listed here. If you want the map, we actually go all the way back home and to the beginning, to the front page. And here they are here. When I'm running partnerships, usually I need to tell them what age group and genders are visiting my site, and you can also find that here. Next up is mobile versus desktop data. We go here to tech and tech details. It starts up with the browser data, but you can find everything here, and device category is the one that is going to give you the overview. Mobile, desktop here. I would like to have that in percentages, but currently it's not. We can also dive deeper into what device model is here, and that is maybe interesting if you want to cater to larger mobile screens. And now for some fun stuff. Social shares. We sort of touched on that before, but let's dive in here. So we go back to acquisition and traffic acquisition. And you have here something that is called organic social, but you can have more of that. If we take session medium, we get something here, and sometimes there's a social in here as well. This site in particular is not one that gets shared much. It's about diseases and people don't tend to share that. So let's just expand the data range to get some more data in, and you see social is down here. If you want to dive even deeper into it, we go to sessions and sources. And I haven't been able to find a single place where you can have only the social traffic, but this is the next best. This is the next best thing. So LinkedIn is here. We need to expand this to have more lines. Facebook is here. My podcast, LinkedIn is here. More Facebook. And someone is sharing my site in a newsletter, it seems. That's fun. The two last ones are definitely the most exciting of them all, and I've been going back and forth on which one to show you first, but I decided on this one because I want to save the best for last. So next one up is conversion rate, what we used to know as goals, and it is under here engagement and then conversions. So I haven't set up conversions yet for this site. So as you can see, it's empty here. So let's just quickly set one up together. I go to admin, and here we have something called events and conversions. So in the Universal Analytics, this was called goals, and it's not anymore. And for some reason, they decided to make it as most difficult as possible. So we actually don't go to conversions. We start by going to events. And we want to set up the event that someone converts. That's the thinking as I understand it. So I click create event. And let's make this a sign up. So let's see, that could be a webinar sign up completed. And then we need to set up what is called the parameters. So the event name is what happens when I want to track a conversion. So in this case, I want to track when people land on a thank you page, and that makes the event name page view. And you sort of have to know what you want to track, of course, but you also need to know what the event name is. So if you don't know, you can have a look around in your analytics and look under events, and there you can see some of the events name that Google Analytics is using. So we also want to add the condition that the location, the page location, that is what I usually call the URL, but hey, what do I know? And we want to make that contains, and let's go to the thank you page, which is here, and I add a part of the URL in here. That's just outside the screen, but I click create. And now I have some custom events here. So under events here, it doesn't show up because it hasn't happened yet. But when it does, it will show up here, and you can click mark as conversion. Let's just take one that is already there just so I can show you. Let's go to conversions. And you can see it's here now. So if you click on it, you will be taken back to Google Analytics, and you have the conversions here. You can also go to reports and real time, and you have conversions here, and this is the one I just ticked off. And one more place I want to show is back to pages and screens. You also have conversions out here to the right. The last one sort of brings back warm memories about the time where we could get every single keyword people were typing into Google in analytics. It's not the same though, but still finding keywords inside of Google Analytics makes me feel warm inside. In order to make this work, we have to couple Google Analytics with Google Search Console. I go to admin, and down here, all in the bottom, I found find Search Console. I click link, choose accounts, find the right one, and I click the web stream. This is if you have multiple streams from apps and all sorts of places. For this website I only have one stream, so it doesn't make much sense, but it's required that you click this one and submit. So now the link is created and we can close out of this. I go back to reports. Down here at the bottom I find library, and it should come up here. So the list is pretty long. So what I do is just search for something that makes sense. And there we have it. These are the keywords from Google Search Console. Under here, there's a design error, I think, but under here it says save. So I just click that one, save to current report. As soon as I save, it will be published. And now you have a new line here called Search Console, and we have our keywords here. And there you go.
Well done. That's awesome.
I realize that not all of you have the complete data set in Google Analytics 4, and that might be because you haven't set up the tracking code correctly. I have a video where I show you exactly how to do that, and I also show you how to avoid using Google Tag Manager. So if you think Google Analytics 4 is complicated, oh boy, wait till you see Google Tag Manager. But I show you a quick way on how to set up the tracking code without using that. So go watch this video next.